There he is. Welcome everyone to Notes with Jack. My name is Alan Fox. I'm here with the man, the myth, the legend, Jack O'Brien. What's been going on this week? You just started at Lincoln Center, right? Rehearsals?
This is the day off.
Right.
This is Monday, right?
Yeah.
So I've had Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 4 days of text, heavy text, with 5 actors and my associate, Jeremiah, who's also my assistant, and the stage management in the basement of Lincoln Center on this unbelievable play called Ghosts, which honestly I did before. I did it.
It's Ibsen, right? Ibsen's Ghost?
Ibsen's rather shocking play that sort of really almost damaged his career when it came out.
Huh.
But the interesting thing about this is, for me, is that I did it at the Globe in the 90s, I guess, with the late Richard Easton, Patricia Connolly, her daughter, Emily, who is now a psychiatrist, and Jonathan McMurtry, who's passed. Wonderful, all of them wonderful. It was in the round. It was in a small production in the small theater out there at the Globe. And
this is at the small one at Lincoln Center too, right? It's like a smaller space.
Yeah, we're at the Mitzi, which was the first space there I ever directed years ago.
Right.
And now Andre Bishop is retiring as the artistic producing director. There's a whole new group of people coming in, another generation. And the odd thing is, I suddenly realized that when Andre came in 30 years ago, that's when he and I became friends. I was doing a play for my first job for Lincoln Center, which was down at the Court Theater. It's now the James Earl Jones.
Yeah.
Of Richard Nelson's play, 2 Shakespearean actors. And we became friends. And so as we both came into this producing entity in Broadway, we're both leaving.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize.
Time is a circle, man. Time's always a circle.
Well, you keep saying that.
Yeah.
I don't, you can't prove it by me, but I know you keep saying.
All right, well, I'll prove it to you by the end of this episode. Okay. All right, so you're getting into the text, right? You're starting to do with the text?
Yeah.
Okay. How was it? I mean, you have some great actors though. Actresses.
Billy Crudup.
Yeah. Lily
Rame. Hamish Linklater. They're a couple, and they have children. I don't think they're married, but they might as well be. Then Ella Beatty, who's the child of
Warren Beatty and Annette Bening.
Annette Bening and Warren Beatty. Yeah, beautiful girl. And Levon Hawke, who's Ethan Hawke's son, who will be making his, I think, stage debut here.
Yeah.
But the cool thing about this is that in this sort of last gasp of classicism I'm getting to do in New York, I've got another generation of people below the ones I've worked with all my life.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like at this stage in my life, before I put it all away, I get to really dive into another tier of talent that are the progeny of the people I've been working with.
What do you see the difference between, because if you know their older generations, what do you see similarities between how let's say their parents approached the craft? Or is that like, do you see like where the tree, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, or it does, or whatever happens with apples and trees?
Disease. Yeah.
Right.
No, I think you see elements of the parents in the kids.
Yeah.
I mean, Levon has his father's voice for sure. He looks a lot like his mother. But he's tall and gorgeous, but I hear Ethan's voice and I see Warren's mouth on his daughter. So it's right. you think, oh, this is kind of weird. I'm getting little signals, if you know. But but like most people, they're their own person.
Yeah.
They are. You don't think of them as being connected to those people because you're trying to get them to connect with the material.
Yeah.
And so what are they bringing to the table? And what is great, these 2 very young, new professionals are so completely into this. You can't believe it.
That's
I
cool.
mean, they're practically off book.
Huh.
There's great respect. There's great respect. The other really cool thing is, and this is fun, the translation is by an Irish writer named Mark O'Rourke. And he is also a director and a playwright. And he did this a year ago in Dublin and caused quite a sensation because he stripped out a lot of the Victoriana from the
Yeah.
script. You know, it's from 1882, so there's a lot of complex, packed texts going on,
Yeah.
and he's cleaned it out. It sounds like us,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't sound contemporary, but it falls on the ear really, really cleanly.
Yeah.
So, so I don't know this guy, right? And so I call him up. I've got that WhatsApp thing that you can call London Sheep. Do you know
Yeah.
about this?
Yeah.
Do you know
Yeah.
about this?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, it's thrilling.
Right. Wait,
Thrilling.
is he at the table now or no? Because was he in town or?
He was here for the last 4 days. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. Got it. So he's at the table with you as you start.
Except that, as we're saying hello to each other, and he's an Irish guy, and he's talking like this to me, you know, on the telephone. And the worst part about it is, the more he talks to me like this, the more I'm talking back to him like that too. And I think, Jesus, Jack, stop that! You're making a fool of yourself. Well, he can't hear the difference because he's Irish. Anyway, I was asking about some of the things that he'd done in the translation, and I tripped a wire.
Hmm.
And he said, "Listen, I just want to tell you, the text is not up for grabs.
Hmm.
And if that's a deal breaker, you got to tell me now." And I thought, whoa,
Yeah.
it's just not the way I work. And
Yeah.
it never occurred to me.
Yeah.
And you know what, when that happens, what you hear is somewhere along the line, someone's been hurt.
Yeah. It's defensive. I mean, I know honestly, I'm like that too. I mean, I'm like a dog almost that's been hit too many times a lot of time, or I was at one point with notes like, because when I was working with you, it's interesting. You were giving that, and I felt like I was much more open. Whereas now, after going through some experiences I've went through with screenplays, I get defensive and then have to bring down my guard. And I'm hoping, how did he handle that? I'm hoping this goes towards bringing down his guard. Go ahead. What are you gonna say?
Excuse me. Have you been badly treated by people working to? I mean,
I don't know.
get that.
You're a unique case, right? And it's not, and I don't even mean as a judgment as certain people I've worked with, but there is, I think probably when you don't trust your own instincts and it doesn't go the way you want it, that's when you get defensive, or at least that's an overcorrection. Because in the past, it wasn't even that I was necessarily treated badly. It was that I knew something in my gut. I didn't listen to my gut. I trusted someone with more power. Then the project doesn't go the way you want, right? If you win an Oscar on the script, then it doesn't matter. Then you're like, thank you for all your
Sure.
help.
Yeah.
If you don't win an Oscar, you say, oh, I knew better. I should have listened to my gut, right? So it's like, I don't know. I won't say I've been treated badly, but I will say that things haven't always gone the way I've wanted to. And that's what has led to that.
I hear it a lot from writers, though,
Yeah.
that they are badly abused and they're discarded and they're just anyway, whatever.
Yeah. I'll say one thing before you jump into that. It feels like what you have to as someone that I feel like has learned a lot of hard lessons this way and gotten to a different place. It's not a rejection of you. I think because the words can feel so personal. I mean, I don't know about a translation necessarily, but I think that it can feel like that's me on the page, because if I'm writing, I'm only writing about what's been going on inside of me. So to then be told we need to change certain things, it doesn't feel like a rejection of the work you've done. It feels like a rejection of yourself. I think if you write from a very personal place, but that's a rookie mistake,
But at the same time, you're sitting at the table with really talented people, okay?
Right.
And they say the words, and you see them thinking, that felt weird. That doesn't sound right to me.
Yeah.
And so there, you have to have a climate where you can say, without feeling like you're stepping on someone's toes, is there any other way you can hear this? Can you help me with this? Whatever. Anyway, I don't want to get into this now. All I wanted to say was, I freaked out, and I did. Totally freaked out. And I thought, oh my God, this is going to be miserable. What am I going to do? And I have really talented actors and they know me really well and they're going to expect an open climate. And I talked to Andre Bishop, my boss, the artistic director, and I said, "Tell me about the contract.
Mm.
Are there things I can do and things I can't do? Are there restrictions? Is he coming back? Can we get rid of him? Does he have to stay?" I thought I gotta be careful here because this is a very personal show for me.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know that I'll get to do another great play in Manhattan in my lifetime,
Yeah.
and it's a great play. And so I'm taking it very seriously, and it's his last production,
Yeah.
Andre's,
Yeah.
So it's full of stuff.
Sure.
I finally said to the company yesterday after Sweet Mark had left, I said, "Don't write the script,
Yeah.
live it, just live it. Don't go borrowing trouble."
Yeah. Yeah.
My favorite
The
phrase.
Jackism. Yeah.
The
Yeah. Yeah.
Jackism, don't go borrowing trouble, because the minute he got in the room with beautiful, young, talented, generous people, excluding
Right. Of course. Of course.
me, he just melted.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah.
And he changed stuff. He rewrote stuff. He took it back. He shared ideas. He asked for help. It was bliss.
Yeah.
We did not want to see him go.
You know what it could be too is a negotiation tactic of like, I have to draw a line in the sand so I can budge. Because if I'm open too much at the beginning, so when they talk about negotiating, it's like you got to over ask to end up where you feel comfortable. So it's like if he doesn't have the sort of porcupine spikes on when you first come in trying to get him to change something, it's easier to walk back and melt than it is to fight forward when you lose too much control. And because with Safe Space, I made that mistake. I wanted to be the nicest guy in the room from the beginning versus turning into the nicest guy in the room at the end. And it sounds like Mark obviously played this better, the playwright for this play, or the adapter for this play, because he was willing to be bad cop at the beginning so that he could walk his way back to good cop, which I'm taking notes now.
Well, also, I've got this endless career here in this city, right?
Yeah,
I've done
yeah.
a ton of crap.
Yeah.
And I've worked with a ton of people. I got an email from a lovely actress today about a project that I'm auditioning for the fall.
Yeah.
I hope she doesn't tune into this.
Don't say
I recognized her.
Yeah.
But I don't remember what the hell we did together. She's asking for another job. Can she come in? And I think, how do I say that? Is this senility? I mean, I've met so many people. I've directed so. Anyway, yeah, sure, come in and read for it. I don't know what you're going to do,
Yeah.
So that's the. But anyway, what I'm saying is, I've got this whole persona here of whatever I am. The people who know me know me.
Yeah.
This guy doesn't know me from Adam's ass, right?
Well, let's
No,
don't downplay yourself. He may not know you, but
no. We both did our homework.
right, of course.
He looked me up. He called people. I called people. I found out. Nobody said he was a problem. Everybody said he was adorable, and he is adorable.
Yeah.
So when he sort of stepped back to me, I'm so unused to that. I'm just a sweet little guy.
Yeah. You told me about a moment when you first, not to reference Safe Space again, but when you first listened to it, you came to that first reading, and there was a moment where you decided this isn't about me because they gave you the wrong script. It's like that story. You said this isn't about me. Did you have a similar thing with this playwright when it came in, and it's sort of like actually, because there's a version of maybe, I don't know, would younger Jack taken it more personal and tried to push back, but like when you take a step back like that and say, how do we what was that thought process like, I guess, when you first got that pushback from him?
No, I didn't project any more into this except, this guy's got his fists on this, and he's not, for whatever reason, he said, the script is not up for grabs.
Right.
So take it or leave it. And I guess I believed him. I mean, the thing that happened with Safe Space was I'm at our agency, CAA, for the first time. I've never been, I'd been in the building, but I'd never done a reading there. There were people in the room. There were agents in the room. There were two actors I had never laid eyes on before. There was Julie White reading for the part for the first time. We know each other, but we're not close. I was a stranger in a strange land, and
Right.
I felt humiliated. I had done some work on the script.
Yeah.
I had made some notes. I was going to ask, should we sort of add voices when we? I mean, I was there to sort of explore the idea, and suddenly they were doing a completely different script for me, and I
Yeah.
was momentarily as angry as I've ever been because I thought, how could somebody in our agency not not take care of this?
Yeah. It's not a
And
great way for them to make a first impression when you show up. You know what
well,
I mean? It's
yeah.
like it doesn't look good on them either.
So, and this is so not me. I
Yeah.
was going to say, I'm out of here. Good luck with your play. Because except for you meeting you for the first time, I didn't have anything at stake here
Yeah.
except why am I being treated this way? Which is the minute I thought, and that's when I thought this really isn't about you,
Yeah.
and it wasn't. It
Yeah.
was about us. Finally,
Well,
now
it was about one day making notes with Jack is what it was about.
I'm stuck with you.
All
If
right,
I
so
had
like,
only had the courage to get out of that chair and say,
that'll teach you to be the bigger person. When so you're sitting at the table, what is that like when the first read through and stuff with these, with the actions and act? Like how are you feeling 4 days in with like hearing the words?
well, I guess, I mean, it's, I'm having a little trouble being articulate about it.
It's okay.
It is a devastating play,
Yeah.
and it is a great play. I mean, the parts are everybody's good, and I've got really good people. They'd all done their homework. This is not the play I did at the Globe.
Mm.
Not even. I mean, that was a very acceptable, nice production, got nice reviews. I was even sort of proud of it. And when I thought of it in retrospect, I thought, oh, I did that really well. That's not too many people. It's not expensive. That'll be fine. I had
Yeah.
no idea what I was about to face.
Mm.
No. And the other deal is, which is also fresh and very much who we all are now, we're doing it without intermission. It's a 3-act play with 2 intermissions, as those were originally. But the entire text, when we did it yesterday, almost twice, I think it clocked in at 1 hour 38 minutes.
Hmm.
And I'm telling you, it's a ride you'll never forget because it's
Yeah.
it's devastating, and it has great humor in it.
Yeah.
We found because I have the unbelievable pleasure of Billy Crudup and Hamish Linklater in these 2 parts that usually you don't get actors of that caliber, not both of them. And Hamish is playing this completely, useless, lying, sniveling opportunist who's completely wide open.
Yeah.
The 2 of them went at it. We were stuffing our fists in our mouths from laughing. It was so funny.
Yeah.
So I got a feast in front of me that I got to sort of pare down and shape and all the rest of it. It's great.
When do you remember when you did it at the Globe? What year or what?
Oh, we're
I
gonna.
know. I know. I know. I know. I know.
I don't have a rear view mirror.
I know.
But Jeremiah's across the room. Do you remember when I did? You weren't there, were you? So that would be early '90s, maybe. I think around early '90s.
Early '90s. Because I just wonder. I'm always curious. Why does the play find us? Why does the story find us? And it's finding you twice. And I know there's a major theme. I'm not putting this on you. I'm putting it on the culture or whatever's going on. It's like I feel like a big theme in it is hypocrisy, right? It's being like sort of called on our own.
Oh my God!
It's like called on our own shadow. Like, what do we not want to talk about, right? It's like the underbelly that ultimately, bubbles up by the end of the play. And I wonder if there's what was going on with you in the early '90s versus now, and like, do you find similar themes? You know what I mean?
Well, here's the really hot thing. The play he wrote just before this one is The Doll's House, which many people know because it gets a lot of play.
Yeah.
And of course, it's this extraordinary thing where a mother and wife says, I'm out of here. And that was so revolutionary and still is in an odd way. When you do it, it's quite shocking. But it's all on the front foot. It's all people dealing with the reality and suddenly a woman saying, this isn't enough.
Hmm.
This is you are making something of me that I maybe shouldn't be made of. And she walks out. And it's a famous sort of a trope in dramatic literature that Nora walks out the door.
Yeah.
The next play is this one. And this is the first play in which anybody wrote about people not telling the truth all the time.
There's the
And
cultural moment for you. Yeah.
hello?
Right.
And so the entire thing is subtext.
Yeah. Wow.
And I was even talking to the kids yesterday about things that I'm seeing in my head where the audience gets to watch one of the characters who's just said something. The play moves on, but the emotion doesn't.
Right.
So I'm trying to work it out so that the audience has a long look at her while other people are talking, because she is basically thinking, what just happened to me?
Huh.
And no one talks about it. They never
Yeah.
get to talk about it
Yeah.
until the end of the play.
I mean, that's so, I never would have, I mean, obviously, I never would have thought about that. But the way you direct, do you feel like almost you're pushing it more, like moments like that influence the way you're directing? And that means I want to bring this to the audience's attention, even as the characters continue. Basically, like, and I guess that's the magic.
Not only the magic, this is how you grow as a human being. I mean,
Right.
I thought I knew the damn play.
Right. Right.
Guess what? I didn't know the play.
Yeah.
And now it's asking of me. I'm going to go back to what you just said a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
That the pieces choose us.
Yeah.
This is another thing that I'm dealing with this play, because I have always believed, and I think this is people's work almost of any kind, when you get into the zone, when you and the piece or what you're doing are coming into focus, it begins to talk to you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
The play, you may have written it, Alan, but by the time you let it go, it's its own world.
Yeah.
And even if you move on as a writer and change, back there in that thing is an energy field you launched
Yeah.
that frankly doesn't even have a lot to do with you.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Dude, this is the kind of stuff I love talking about. Because I remember telling you a few years ago, I started dreaming about statues all the time. And there was that idea that Michelangelo had about the ones he left in the marble, right? Leading to the David.
Or freeing the spirits that were in there that he found were.
That's all it is. And I wonder,
exactly it.
and I wonder, like early 90s, right? Do you feel like you may have been, I don't want to put it, more naive or more trusting of everyone leading with their front foot forward? Now you have 30 years of growth, or maybe the world has changed around you, and suddenly you're seeing a whole new layer, or maybe the big, you're seeing maybe you were just seeing the tip of the iceberg back in the 90s. Now you're seeing the 80% below the surface, which is the listening and the unspoken truths and it's amazing. You not only see the play change, but you can also chart how much you've grown as a person.
You know what it's like?
Yeah.
It's like a piece of music.
Yeah.
The melody exists, and the 4 or 5 of us can make and do it any way we want to. We can play it as a waltz. We can do it jazzy. We can do it pompously. We can have an orchestration. It's still the same tune.
Right.
But what you bring to it, how you choose to voice it, is between you and it.
Yeah.
And suddenly it's like this play is yelling out at us, look at this over here. Don't forget to show this. And you think, I'm a little tired today.
Yeah.
But because I wasn't up for this. I don't mean I was smug about it, and that I thought I was, I could toss this off because it's a great play and these are new people. And I did lower the ages because I wanted, as I usually do, I wanted to emphasize the sexual climate, the sort of tension, the sexual tension of the
Sure.
because I think that's what everybody comes to the theater to see, frankly.
Yeah.
I
Oh, that's
really,
that's your thing, man. It's
I
that's
do.
your number one note. Put more sex in it.
I totally do. I
Right.
absolutely do. You know.
Right. I've heard about, I mean, I don't want you to get in this, right? Because I want people to come see the show, but I've heard about so many cool things you're doing with the way you're staging it and stuff. And did that, as you were there at the table thinking about those things, did it feel like, because sometimes I'll have ideas about what I think a script's supposed to be or what I think a scene is supposed to be. Then I'll actually get it up on its feet or whatever, and I'll be like, maybe that's a good idea for someone else's scene, but this doesn't work anymore. Did you feel like the moments you had felt like, oh, now that I have the actors, now that I have the playwright, it's still popping with that same feeling that you had around those moments and those choices?
Even worse. I got to talk about this.
Right.
In my late career, at least, and like most people, when we get to be this age, you don't sleep all night. I mean,
Right.
you wake up.
You don't sleep all night at my age either.
Probably true.
Right.
But you pee, you turn, you go back to sleep. You get a little water, you go back to sleep. Some people get up and do things because they, I get really strong images about what it is I'm working on. I mean, impulses, ideas. It's as if mail is coming to me at night.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it.
You open that thing and oh, and this is what this has been for me. I have been haunted, ghosts, with all this material that keeps coming. Why don't you do this? Why don't you do this? Open this, try this. I think as I leave this field, both at Lincoln Center and this part of my career, I'm so respectful of what I call the mysteries, the things that call us to do this, that normal, healthy human beings don't even think about or consider, and that we somehow feel a necessity to say something about this that we think we're bringing to it that maybe you haven't heard before.
Yeah.
Which is why people take less money to do this
Yeah.
than they would make if they had a smart job somewhere.
Yeah. I
Because you
had
think,
No, I love that. I mean, and I had this image of, you talking about trying to free the statue from the marble. Maybe you got a lot of the marble off back at the Globe.
I did.
But there's still
But
some of that marble around it. That's what's coming that's what's sending you letters in the middle of the night, is the marble that's left to chisel out of this thing.
I unwrapped the marble in California.
Right.
I never took a chisel to it. I just said, ain't that pretty?
Yeah.
And it works
Yeah.
on a certain level because of construction, because of people's talent, because of the way they conceive things. It marches along, it does its thing, and then there's the end. Oh, that was a nice evening. Let's go have pizza.
Yeah.
And and then if you don't ask questions of it, it doesn't talk to you.
Yeah.
But if you challenge it, what does that mean? Where's that coming from? Suddenly, this thing starts to move.
Yeah.
And you find yourself trying to get comfortable in it or with it. And knowing that felt good, but that didn't. And you watch these really talented people put themselves at emotional risk because they're doing dangerous things with their heads, with their minds, with their emotions. They're playing games.
Yeah.
So that you don't have to, I think, so you watching it won't do that.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
thank God I'm not her.
Yeah, I gotta imagine the more they're willing to risk, the safer the audience can feel, because it pings more truthful, right? It's like I think we all feel more safe, even if it's challenging to us, when we feel like the truth is in the bubble. You know what I mean? When we're all in the bubble and we feel like this is pinging at the right frequency, this is true, and the actors have to go there in order for the audience not to feel uncomfortable with what's occurring, if that makes sense.
So you've always felt this?
I have always thought that the truth occurs at a certain level, and that when the actors get there, when the writing gets there, when the director gets there, that the audience feels, even if they're challenged, they feel secure. Do you know what I mean? It's like versus if it's not pinging, it makes me uncomfortable when I'm watching something that feels false. And I don't know if
Yeah.
it's my own, I feel bad for the people up there. I feel bad for, and I've been the guy that's made stuff that's felt false. So it's like, I get it, right? It's like when you're not there yet, when there's still marble on the statue. And I just feel like there's that magic that happens, particularly in the theater, when everyone's cooking with gas, right? When everyone's telling the truth, the audience feels safe sitting there, even if it's uncomfortable. Because it's like, oh, this is real. We're here. You know what I mean? And even if I'm squirming a little, I feel safe.
But the odd thing too is it doesn't happen every night.
Right. Right.
I mean, what we're going through now is to try to be honest with each other in the piece and all that, and suddenly say, "Is that what you're saying? Is that the truth? Okay, so try that." And that was good. And then you do it the next night, and you think, "I did it, but I don't know that happened." I mean, there's a great story they tell about Olivier, what he was doing, I don't know, Othello or something years ago,
Yeah.
and he had a particularly good night. And he came to the dressing room, and his dresser said, sir, sir, you were great. You were unbelievably great tonight. What was that? And he was in despair.
Hmm.
And he said, I know I was. I just don't know what I did. I mean, even somebody like that who has had a lifetime of it, you catch it, you give it breath, and then immediately it's taken away from you.
Yeah. Well, that's letters in the night to you as well. You know what I mean? It's like sometimes they show up and you're like, man, I got a bag full of letters here. And then, or at least for me, it's like sometimes I wake up, I got a bag full of letters. Other times I'm in the middle of the night panicking because I know it's dry. The mail doesn't come on Sunday. You know what I mean?
And the other thing that was weird about the mind and the subconscious is the fact that I don't go to bed thinking about this. As a matter of fact, I try not to think about it so I can go to sleep.
Right.
So I'm not actively soliciting.
Right.
And yet, and it comes, you think,
Well,
wow.
well,
And I've now learned to respect that.
yeah.
I mean, I pay really close attention to it because every time I do, it really works.
Yeah. Well, the secret tip that Notes with Jack is now offering listeners is it's all those Project Runway episodes that you watch.
Oh, I do.
Right. It's all those at night that bring about the letters, man. You didn't know Ibsen was a big Project Runway fan from the other side.
Well, can we talk about that for a minute?
Yeah, we got a couple more minutes. Yeah.
Well, no, because I don't know about anybody else, but going to sleep now I used to not even have to think about it.
Yeah.
Any relationship I had ever been in, good night, boom, I'd go down.
Right.
And the next day they'd say, you are the most irritating person. How can you possibly, I don't know. Now, the accumulation of all of this over the years, I can't do that any longer.
Yeah.
But so I need to have something to watch before I go to bed that takes me into what I call a kind of neutral territory.
Yeah.
And I totally identify with Project Runway because I see these young people, and they have to pull this out of their ass.
Yeah.
There's a limit to they have no time, no one to help them, no money. Make it work, as they kept saying. I love that. Make it work. And then I don't sort of understand design, and I don't like it all that much, but I watch, I think, oh, that's good. Oh, I don't like that. Oh. And then they analyze it, and very often I'm wrong. But at the end, I feel so satisfied because they have faced the challenge nobly, to the best of their ability, and learned to love the pressure.
Yeah.
Because you can't complain. It's actually help. It's a help.
Yeah.
Put
the pressure you mean.
Put
like
the pressure on.
Yeah.
Deliver.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And you think, and we all feel I'm such a victim. Oh, poor me. No, everybody has it.
Right.
So when you watch somebody in a discipline that has nothing to do with you, and they're going from A to B to whatever, and they finish, and they're either in tears or elated or confused, as most of us are, but there's something else that has been given life.
Yeah.
And, good night, dear.
All right, that's perfect to end on. As Yeah, that's perfect, man. So good. I'm so happy to hear about this first week
Me
at Lincoln
too.
Center. I
Me
can't
too.
wait to hear about next week.
Oh, stay tuned. It'll get worse.
And look, man, if you ever can't sleep at 3 in the morning, what I always tell you, call me because I'm
Uh,
up too. So whatever you need.
I'm usually up peeing.
Yeah. Okay. Well, wait till you get out of the bathroom to call me, but then call me. All right, man. I'll talk to you next time. Thanks, Jack.
Bye.
All right. Thank you, everyone.